It is interesting to see all of our people in this new setting. Normally, I would complain that we just skipped ahead. Like, we skipped everybody making the decision to go to the Commonwealth, or, who decided and who didn't, and, them settling down and being assigned their jobs and living quarters and everything. Normally, I would be upset about skipping that, but time is of the essence this season, being the final season. So I guess I can see why they did skip that. I think I'm having a difficult time being objective about it, because here's the thing. This is just not a show that I would watch. I am not a well-rounded person when it comes to television or movies. I pretty much only watch horror, and I pretty much only watch things that have some kind of supernatural element. I like a good slasher, just like a human slasher kind of a thing or whatever. But generally, the stuff that I watch has a supernatural element to it, or it's, some flavor of horror. And so this is not, like, if you take out the zombie apocalypse, right, which was completely, in the background of this episode, if you take that out, then it's like corrupt politicians and class struggle and, an underground resistance and, stuff like that. That is just not a show that I would watch personally. That, I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but I have a difficult time being objective about it and saying whether or not it's good or bad, because it's just not something that I'm interested in. I'm just like, where are the zombies? I just want zombies. What I love about The Walking Dead is these people surviving in a zombie apocalypse. And I realize that rebuilding is part of that, but I was enjoying watching our survivors rebuild, right? So watching them starting from the ground up and rebuilding, transplanting them into an already pre-existing community, and one that is so much like the way that the world used to be, is just not interesting for me. But I can see, I can imagine that a lot of people would really like this because it's very different, and we get to see our characters in, a very different kind of setting, and that might really be somebody's jam, is what I'm saying. But for me personally, it's just not what I want. Like, I would just rather have them in the forest. But, that's just me. So, I did think that, like, I wasn't bored. I thought a lot of it was really interesting. I love Uncle Daryl with my whole heart. And but I do think it's strange that they would have a literal haunted house, like a haunted maze with fake walkers. Like, why? Just go outside the walls for that. Like, it's just weird. It's weird because that really exists. So why would you, like, have fun with that, if that makes sense? I don't know. That's a little strange. I did like seeing Judith, trying to make a friend and trying to be like a normal kid, and I did like seeing that they had some kind of recreation, because that's been one of my complaints about our communities, is that there's no fun to be had. There's no recreation at all. Like, we're 10 years into the zombie apocalypse, so there would be. And that's why I really liked Ezekiel's Fair back in season 9, because, yeah, we should have stuff like that. So, I thought that was really interesting. And it's just so weird. It's just so weird to, like, see Daryl basically being a dad, and, like, he's living with these 2 little kids in a rundown apartment, and there's, like, loud music, and it's just so weird. So I did find that really interesting. It was more like once we got to the costume party and all of that stuff, that's when my interest really started to wane. But I am enjoying seeing them integrate into this community. And obviously it's corrupt and our people are going to have to, you know, I don't know, kick some ass. They're going to have to fix it. So, I mean, I guess I'm interested, but not really. I don't know. It's tough. This is not, this is just not my cup of tea. So, but the fact that I'm already invested in these characters is, you know, it's the reason why this is, you know, kind of interesting. But I'm not interested in the corrupt politicians and the resistance and all of that that's going on. You know, too much like real life, man. Like all the bad shit in real life. Like, I just want some zombies. I don't want to be reminded of how the world sucks in real life. You know what I mean? So anyway, I loved Carol. I mean, I always loved Carol. But you know, I thought at first, like, you know, they're making her a baker, and that's really a waste of her talents. I mean, I'm sure she's a fabulous baker, but you know, she's so smart. I mean, she's so brilliant, so calculating, so you know, so cunning, and you know, it feels like a waste. But then it's like, well, actually, no, this is perfect because she can just fly under the radar and do her Carol thing. I wonder if Ezekiel is actually going to have the surgery, because knowing Ezekiel and the kind of man that he is, he would not accept a surgery if he took somebody else's place. You know, if he got bumped in front of other people, he wouldn't do it. So I can only imagine that it would happen if he didn't know. But I love them so much, and I want him to be cured, and I want them to get back together and live happily ever after, please. I know that's not going to happen because there's a spin-off and he's probably not in it, but I can dream. Speaking of dreaming, oh my god, Daryl and Connie, they're so cute. The way he always finds excuses to touch her, you know, and the way that he looks at her, and you know, she walked away and, and he turned around to watch her leave. I'm just like, oh, they're so cute. I love it so much. And I love how much Carol is a Donnie shipper. She's like the #1 Donnie shipper, and I just love it so much. So anyway, that was adorable. You know, I wouldn't hate it if this all worked out and they, you know, if we could believe that this community was a good place, and our people could really like settle down here and be happy. I mean, I would be happy with that ending. It's not what I would have imagined, I guess. But I would be happy with that in the end if that's what we get. But again, we know that Daryl and Carol will not be staying. Like, why would Daryl leave the kids? It has to be something to do with Rick. That's what I'm thinking. It has to be something to do with Rick and or Michonne. And that it's like temporary, you know, that they're temporarily leaving for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm so curious. I know absolutely nothing about the spinoff. I don't even know where they're filming it. You know, if it's still going to be filmed in Georgia or what. Like, I know nothing. And I don't know who else is going to be in it either. So, interesting. But yeah, let's have it be Carol and Ezekiel together, and Daryl and Connie together with the kids, and Kelly, of course. You know, maybe they go to some other kind of community to start to like rebuild or something like that. I don't know. I just want those people together. Damn it. I'm gonna miss so many people. Cause I'm like, oh, and then can you bring Aaron and Gracie too? And can you bring Jerry, and like, can we just bring everybody? So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. It's after 5 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, this is what you're going to get. Anyway, so I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, what you think of this episode. Again, it's like, it's this weird kind of place for me because this isn't a show that I would watch, but because I'm invested in these characters, it really is kind of interesting to see them in this new setting. So I was entertained. It just less so once we got like to the ball or the costume party or whatever. You know, once we got too much into that kind of world, it was just like, yeah, I don't want this. But anyway, I'm curious to see what they're doing. So I guess that's it. Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. I also forgot to mention that it's interesting to see Daryl as basically a police officer. I mean, with handcuffs and everything, based on, you know, what we know about the Dixon brothers. He was probably on the other side of that scenario in, you know, his life before. So it's interesting that he would basically be a cop now. It's weird. And I would like to know how he feels about that. I would like to see him kind of reflect on it. So that would be interesting if we get that kind of reflection from him. But I don't know if the show is really interested in doing that. But that was one of the most interesting things about the episode to me. You know, to just have Daryl Dixon on, you know, the other side of the law, like officially. It's very interesting. You know, I was just thinking, it might be an arc for Carol to have to realize that there are some things that you can't change. Like, you just have to accept the way that things are sometimes. Like, I was just thinking, oh, you know, I forgot to mention, like, how amazing Carol is, that she will do anything. She's capable of doing anything to accomplish her goal. And then I thought about how, like I said before, that Ezekiel, he wouldn't take somebody else's place. Although it will break my heart, it might be an interesting, you know, because I've talked many times about Carol taking, you know, unilateral action, and it's a consistent character trait for her. It's not necessarily always the best thing to do. And as much as I would love for Ezekiel to be cured, you know, for him to make it through the series, and for, you know, for us to feel like he's got a lot of years left, maybe Carol does succeed and Ezekiel finds out and he turns down the surgery, and then he, you know, either passes away, or we know that, you know, he doesn't have much time left. And Carol has to learn to accept it. Like, you can't always bend everyone and everything to your will. And maybe, you know, that is something that she needs to learn, and maybe that would help her with that, you know, with that lesson. And then that might be one of the reasons why she leaves the Commonwealth, is if Ezekiel is gone. So that just popped into my head too. So anyway, okay, that's really it now, I swear. Okay, bye.